We wash ourselves with a rag on a stick. Yeah, this is MetalJesusRocks. He's back. He's looking fitter than... Oh, maybe not. He's now apparently sorted out his fake jaw problems. He claimed he had problems that stopped him being able to speak. I don't believe that for 1 second. That's actually not his latest video, because his latest video is this one. He's got an Evercade EXP for review. Is it worth $150? Maybe we'll find out. So it's it's released 8 hours ago. This shows the power of that's gone. MetalJesusRocks, 18,000 views he's got in 18 hours. He's got nearly 900,000 subscribers. And no one's watching his videos anymore. Good lord. I mean, but yeah, it's been the last. We'll come to that in a minute. But the last proper video he made was September the 30th. So that was like 2.5 months ago. And he claimed he was he had some jaw surgery, which stopped him being able to make videos. So what he did instead was he just made an absolute series of just compilations. So what we got? Well, that's the racing wheel thing. Nintendo Switch Marathon, 2 hours. So the first one of those got 133,000 views. I mean, this is a guy who routinely used to get over 100,000 views within a day. And it's just not happening anymore. Even when he did a 2-hour video with Kelsey. I mean, quite frankly, she's clearly the best thing. Trying to be polite to put on his channel. You're trying to be not sexist, whatever the word is. Well, not sexist. You know, just falling on the right side of things you can say in 2022, because there aren't bloody many of them these days. Anyway, she's clearly the best thing to see on his channel, and he just makes a 2-hour video, and that can't even crack 1,000 views. Then he amalgamates all his travel videos into one thing, and no, nothing there either. Then all the old stuff and blah 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 blah. PC Games Marathon. If you put "how to" in a video title, that's a good thing to get the views. How to, because people search how to. I mean, for God's sake, they'll get rid of the fucking goatee. You're still not learned with that. But then look, a week ago, they did a Wii Hidden Games Marathon. 47 games, 6 episodes. So basically, and he's not even doing any intro or proper intro, or at least anything, I don't think, to these videos. He's just literally stitching videos together. Any sort of intro seems to be in the description. And then he's just putting it out there, just stitching it together, render that as one video, upload it, bang, there you go. Really, if you were to say someone else's videos and just upload it wholesale without actually doing anything to it, that would, without not what I'll be doing here, which is fair use, because I'll be commenting on it. But if you just took someone's video, apart from the copyright side of it, if you just took someone else's video and uploaded it wholesale, it would eventually get dinged for reused content. And reused content means that basically your whole channel would be demonetized for a month. And yeah, I've done it once or twice. There were a couple of little funny things I thought were funny, and yeah, I paid the price. It was a while ago I did that. I made a video about it. You can go check. If you look up the search function on YouTube is absolutely shite. You'd have to look on a PC for it. If you went to my channel and then look on my channel and search on there for reused content, you'll see there's a video on there about how about the problem that came along and how I fixed it, which is basically finding the videos that were the problem and getting rid of them. But even though I think there was one video I ended up deleting, which I thought was actually probably still fair use. But anyway, the trouble with YouTube is, if you get a copyright strike, well, there's many troubles with YouTube. If you get a copyright strike, it will tell you what the problem videos are, whatever. But if there's a reused content issue, they don't tell you. At least not at the time that I had that problem. They just leave you to guess. And if you're like me and you've got 2,500 videos, or how many God knows videos I've got on here, it's going to take you fucking ages. So if I had to go to there's a good group on Facebook, Small YouTubers Boost, That's a very good group for tips. I think I had to ask on there for people, can someone please have a look at my channel? Can you please tell me which videos are the problem? Because I know about the problem in itself, what it's defined as, but I can't remember what the problem videos are, and somebody kindly looked and found it for me. So I was very grateful to them. But anyway, so that should be. I wonder if you can sort of. If you upload the same video twice, the system would spot that, and it would just basically say duplicate, and it wouldn't allow you to post it because there's no point. But it seems you can just get away with amalgamating lots of videos into one, and the algorithm doesn't give a fuck unless maybe it doesn't care if you're MetalJesusRocks and you're getting a ton of money. You're getting $4,000 of Patreon each month. At least $4,000. That's the last time it came up. Anyway, the last time I saw it, was like 2 or 3 years ago, and that was another YouTuber. I won't name him because I know he doesn't make videos anymore. But he showed MJR's Patreon, and it said about $4,000 a month. So it will have gone up since, because he's since hidden the amount. But and starts the video, hey, give me money to my Patreon. But then you'll say, hey, Dom, you also have a Patreon linked on your channel. I mean, what are you doing? Hey, you, don't watch that. Watch this. This is the heavy, heavy monster sound, the nuttiest sound around. So if you come in off the street and you're beginning to feel the heat, well, listen, Buster, you better start to move your feet to the rockiest, rock-steady beat of madness. One step beyond. Oh, dear, excuse me. Oh, what happened there? 1, 2, 3, I'm back in the room. 3, 2, 1, I'm back in the room even. But yeah, so there's the Patreon link on my channel. But if you look at that and you would rather give the money to a food bank or any other, because we're in a fucking never-ending cost of living crisis, and it's just going up shit creek the more it goes. If you'd rather give your money to a food bank or to a charity or someone far more needy than myself who just spend it on crack and drugs. No, I don't spend it on crack and drugs. If you spend the only drugs are prescription drugs. But you can get like the NHS have a thing where if you can buy 3-month or 12-month prescription season tickets, they call them, or they sort of dub them that. So if I bought all my prescription tablets individually, it costs an absolute flipping fortune. But if I buy sort of about 3, is it 3 or 6 months you can buy? I think it's 3 months and 12 months. Either way, if I get a season ticket, then it's much cheaper. I think a season ticket is about £35 or something, and yet each individual medication, and I take a lot of different tablets. Each one is about, I think it's almost about £10, and each time I get a load of stuff from the pharmacy, it's there must be about 7 different things there, so that'd be about almost £70 a time, and I can get like about 3 lots in one 3-month supply. So that's almost about £200 worth of medication, all for about £35. So I do that. Yeah, but if I'd say, getting off the beaten track. So anyway, if you're in the UK and you need to buy a lot of tablets, the NHS prescription tablets, if you look at prepayment prescription certificate, or PPC, and look at PPC NHS and you'll see it. Yeah, you can save quite a lot of money there. But yeah, obviously if you'd rather give your money to the food bank, etc., please do that. Because the country's gone up shit creek, and with the Tories still in power, it ain't going to get better anytime soon. So anyway, who are we talking about? Oh, MJR. Yeah, how did I even get onto that? I can't remember now. Anyway, so we're going to look at his EXP review. Is it worth it? Soon find out.
Metal Jesus here, and I am back.
He's back. He's decided to make his first video in almost 3 months, because he's decided to actually. It's taken him that long to assemble his whole wall of Evercade. Must be that bad back, and he's certainly not spent the last 2 or 3 months going for long walks like I have and losing weight. Hey, have you, MJR?
With a brand new review of the Evercade EXP handheld. You may be asking yourself, wait, didn't he already review that? Well, I reviewed the original Evercade handheld back in 2020, but now
And he still hasn't cut his fingernails.
I have the upgraded version, and it's new in almost every way.
Well, yeah, when you make a new product, it tends to be new. That's kind of how new stuff works.
So in this video, I'm going to review the hand.
At least it's got Earthworm Jim 2, which the Amico doesn't have. Hey, talking of the Amico, I'm thinking of changing my DVD Fever name to Amico Fever. How about that? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below about that. Hey!
Handheld, and we'll take a look at some of the new game collections that were also released. Let's take a look.
Now, this is the point. There's just 1 second.
Some of the new game collections that were also released. Let's take a look.
Bingo wings. Anyway, I don't want to play his music because he probably throws a bloody copyright strike. Excuse me.
But I do want to.
Well, I will just say, because I've completely forgotten to look at. Come on. Oh no, there we go. There's a copyright strike right there. I meant to go back to his channel because, yes, about almost 3 months ago for that. It says 2 months ago, but basically that means it's between 2 and 3 months ago. That says 8 hours. It's between 8 and 9 hours. So once it gets to 9 hours, then that will change to 9 hours, and then up to 24 hours, it'll then say a day, then 2 days, and so on. But it's lazy fucking videos. This is just. This is how he gets the views, just wandering around bloody shops and shit, buying games with your $4,000 of Patreon money each month, and almost 3 months of not making a video, and with a $90. I mean, I don't begrudge him getting the stuff for free for review. I do that myself sometimes, but yeah, the $90 is here nor there for him. But the fact is, if you give him money, you've given him $12,000. $12,000 basically between that video and this one we're looking at now. $12,000. For what? I mean, if you watch my videos, and especially if you watch it from start to end, that accumulates what's called watch time. And because the more you watch, the better it is for me. I don't make a ton of money. Based on what's on there, it's like a 1.5 good nights out a month, so it keeps me in beer basically. Very nice. I can't retire on it, that's for bloody sure. But I mean, no one pays me, no one sends me any money through Patreon anyway. But that's not a cue to send me money through Patreon. I say if you'd rather give it to a food bank, etc., do that. But it's just he's asking for money because he makes these videos, and then he can't be asked to make a fucking video claiming he can't talk. Anyway. We've covered that. But yeah, lazy ass video going around fucking Hawaii. Stop saying Hawaii. Then a video, top 5 things you can stick in your Steam Deck. And then just a video where they've bought a load of games, or been given them, excuse me, and then just made a video about it. Looking at each game for about 5 minutes. It gets Reggie out of the house or out of his flat instead of sitting on the floor all day. And men in their 50s, sad men in their 50s who have to resort to goatees. I'm 50, I will never have a fucking goatee. Good lord, I don't want a beard either. If you're bald, you've got to have a beard. Good god. And yeah, just have a lot. And that's the only thing that people watch his channel for. Just when he puts all the same shit in one video. Wow, cute, whatever the fuck that is. I think there's a shot of Kelsey in there somewhere, but anyway. What were they thinking? Who knows? Who knows what they're thinking? Who knows? Steam Deck, more buying shit in a store. But yeah, that gets the views for him. And he talks in a minute on the video, well, soon in the video, about how expensive retro game collecting is, even though he's the one with his hidden gems videos who says pick these games up for cheap, like cheap PS4 and Xbox One deals. and then as soon as you actually get to see the video, because he'll put those videos up on Patreon first to people who pay money. So you pay money to get the cheap deals, because by the time it comes to YouTube, the deals have gone, because the people who paid him money on Patreon to see the video first have bought all those cheap deals. So yeah, by the time he puts that video up, no one will get any cheap deals at all. Anyway, let's go back and have a look at this.
We're going to start with a quick unboxing, but I do want to let you know that this was sent to me for review. However, all of the opinions are my own.
Can you just keep his voice into one tone instead of going up and down the fucking scale?
You'll notice with this box that they're promoting the fact that it comes with a bunch of games already pre-installed. So there are 18 Capcom games built onto the device, and we'll check those out as the video goes on. And notice that the tagline is leveled up. They're saying that because this is an evolution of...
It's the evolution of the previous model. The way he's talking, it reminds me of Brett Weiss. Are they from the same place? I don't know. I know MJR's from Seattle. Brett Weiss hangs around with the Crypt Keeper, hangs around with John Hancock. John Hancock, who has a silly beard, because that seems to be the way you get the way you get notice. But they all talk like this, and we all go up and down the scale of when we're talking. We can't keep our voice on a steady level.
The previous model, meaning that all the previous cartridges should work. And you'll notice that it does look a little bit different to the previous model, and I'm going to compare them side by side. By the way, the cost of this is $150.
Yeah, you said that already. That's also in the title.
Digging down deeper, you see that it includes a pack-in cartridge. You're going to get 6 Irene arcade games.
6 Irene? Irene? So me, myself, and Irene?
Also included is a USB-C charging cable.
USB-C? Gotta have a USB-C.
As well as a full-color manual talking about all of those Capcom games that you get on the device.
God, he talks like a bloody 5-year-old. All are those games on a Capcom device. Life isn't like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. It's Forrest MJR.
If you're not familiar with the Evercade series of consoles,
You must have been living under a fucking rock for the last 2-3 years.
basically they are a low-cost alternative for people like me.
People like you, low cost. You get $4,000 plus in Patreon money each month.
Who like to collect physical media and play retro games without breaking the bank.
I think you've broken the bank every time your Patreon money gets paid into your account.
Because of that success, as you see here, there are a ton of cartridge collections to choose from. You guys know that right now, retro game collecting is incredibly expensive.
Yeah, that's down to you ramping up the price by saying get all these games that are like $5 or whatever in the local store, and then people go and buy them, and then the shops see people rushing in to buy them, and they think $5, oh, let's make it $50. And the simps still pay it, and then suddenly that's why it's expensive. Because of you!
And so it's really cool that Evercade has these game collections that only cost around $20, and all of the games are fully licensed. So let's go ahead and get back to the new handheld, and I'll show you all the different ways that it's been changed and updated. Starting with the most obvious thing, and that is its screen. The new
Looks like they've forgotten to colour it in. Excuse me.
handheld is on the left, and the old one is on the right. I originally thought that maybe the...
We can see that anyway because it says Evercade EXP, but you still got to put new, old.
new screen is a little smaller, but they're exactly the same size, the same dimensions. It's just that the bezels on
Fucking hell, MJR Gump.
the new one are more noticeable for some reason.
More noticeable? It just seems... I'm not quite sure what they've done here, but... Then again, so it's not the exact same picture that's frozen, but that's sort of stretched. Maybe that's been stretched out to the side a bit. It's sort of coming in from the top a little bit. Yeah, it's not quite right. I think I think there's, well, there's certainly less room either side compared to that side. Yeah, it's like the picture's been stretched a bit. I don't know whether he's messed with that in the settings or something.
However, the big change is they switched over to a new high-resolution IPS screen. So they increased the resolution of the new screen, but more importantly, the viewing angle. And you can clearly see that in this footage. You can also see from this footage that they changed the default aspect ratio a little bit.
Yeah, they've stretched the picture. I mean, yeah, you can see, in fact here, you can see Super Skid Marks is a bit stretched there compared to what it's like on there. So it's just been stretched a bit. That'll be something you can change in the settings, I'd wager.
I'm not sure which one is more accurate.
Look in the settings.
But there is a pixel perfect mode under settings if you want to play with that.
Pixel perfect, I mean, that looks like it's 4:3, the old one on the right. Pixel perfect seems to sort of shove it a bit tighter. So sort of, yeah, narrower than 4:3. That looks like there's some sort of stretch mode applied, but not stretched enough to fill the screen. But hey ho, that's what MJR is. Actually, MJR isn't stretched. That's just how he looks. So please do not adjust your set. He looks like that.
Another thing that they added, which is pretty cool, is Tate mode.
Tate mode? Tate mode? Oh, God. Let's hear that again.
Thing that they added, which is pretty cool, is Tate mode.
You know, it is Forrest Gump, isn't it? Tate mode. Pronunciation. Official correction. That's still on Reddit. Someone said on Reddit. I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Taito, or Taito. Basically, the video game company. So yeah, they used to make games like that. God, his fucking fingernails are disgusting. Taito mode, but they've just called it Tate mode, or Tate mode, not Tate mode. I think he's thinking of tartar sauce to put in his chips later. Well, we call chips what you get from potatoes in America land. That's what you refer to as crisps, but then we drive on the correct side of the road. Oh, I'm going to get some hate in the comments for that. I'm joking. I love. But just, yeah, anyway, let's just get on with it.
There is a button that you can push at any time which will rotate the screen 90 degrees. So all of those arcade shooters that would typically be vertically aligned, this thing will support, and you'll be able to use more of that screen. Notice it even has buttons down there to be played like that. It's pretty cool.
That does seem like something they could have included in the first place, but then they held it back for the sequel console, as it were.
Another change from the early model is that they now support USB-C. That is a very welcome update because I hate trying to find old micro USB cables.
Yeah, a lot of people hate that. A lot of people hate, in a cost of living crisis where people haven't got a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out. Their biggest bugbear is not the choice between heating and eating, but the choice between what do I do? I'm trying to find an old USB cable. Good Lord, what to do? Me, when I had a big tidy out of cables and shit, God, last year. No, it was earlier this year. Excuse me. It's getting cold. Even though the heating's on. I had a big clear out of old cables, getting rid of duplicates and keeping some spares of this, that, and the other. And I've just sorted out all my cables basically, so I know where to go for my USB cables. Perhaps you should try the same, MGR. Perhaps in between faking basement leaks and so on.
You no longer have to do that.
Oh,
And then there is a slight upgrade to the CPU and also the battery, but I don't think you're going to really notice it. They upgraded the processor from a 1.2 gigahertz to 1.5. The memory went up from...
I don't think he's actually playing these games. He's just sticking them on demo. He just, I think with 1942, whatever it was, he just so just put it onto vertical mode and then Tate mode, and then just I don't think he even played the game, and then he just sets everything else on demo.
The original, which had 256 megabytes, up to 4 gigabytes now. I'm sure that's because they have the games pre-installed on it, but it also gives them room to update the operating system in the future. Speaking of, the interface definitely has changed on this device compared to the old one. The new interface looks closer to their standalone console, the Evercade VS. On the left, you have the icon for whatever cartridge that you've inserted. Below that is where you'll find all the Capcom games that are pre-installed.
Oh, the Capcom games.
And then check it out, they have hidden games, and this
Like hidden gems.
This can be where you type in either a secret code to unlock a game, or maybe you do a button combination, things like that.
And if you type in the secret code MJR sucks butthole, it probably doesn't recognize it.
And then below that is where they do their Game of the Month program. They do this on the console too, but honestly, I haven't messed with it a lot, but I do love how much fun they're having with all of this.
He probably played the console for about an hour to make the video, but I've not even watched it. But to make his video review and then just put it away and then went back to making his metal music.
And then finally, settings. In there, you'll find settings for changing the aspect ratio, also turning on scan lines, messing with the bezels, changing the display themes, and
Yeah, so that's have we got the original ratio
finally,
on there?
settings.
Original ratio.
In there, you'll find settings for changing.
Pixel perfect. Yes, pixel perfect, as you can see, just makes it a little bit narrower. Let's just go back.
This. And then finally, settings.
So yeah, so that's original ratio, then it'll get narrower.
In there, you'll find settings for changing the aspect ratio, also turning...
Yeah, and then just stretching it full screen. So it's like the new machine's just sort of stretched it slightly further, or the old one was balked, or whatever's happened, but there's definitely that difference between the two, the new one and the old one.
On scan lines, messing with the bezels, changing the display themes, and also setting up your Wi-Fi. Which, by the way, can be important because some games will have an update if you put it into this new device. I assume it's because this has a slightly higher display resolution, or maybe now it will support that Tate mode.
Tate mode, Tata source mode.
Now I want to mention something that I ran into that is kind of annoying, especially if you are an early adopter like
Serial killer alert.
me. Now, the company did warn me about this, but I didn't know how bad it would be. Basically, the very first run of cartridges are slightly too big to fit in this. Actually, they fit, they just are really tight. I had
They're as tight as MJR.
a heck of a time trying to get this cartridge out. I was pushing on it.
He'll get out the flick knife whenever he feels like it.
I had to get out a knife. So be aware if you are an early adopter and you have the first 10 cartridges that they released back in 2001.
Yeah, big problems, isn't it?
They may be a little tight. And to be clear, they've since fixed the problem. Other cartridges fit just fine.
First world problems.
The other thing that I want to mention is that you can't currently do custom button mapping per game.
Oh, shucks.
This is something that was a bit of an issue with the original, and what they ended up doing was patching it in later, and they've mentioned that they are going to look at doing that for this version as well. They know customers want it, so it's just not there right now. Now let's go ahead.
Oh, wow. Let's have a moment of silence.
And move on to the games. And like I mentioned, it comes with 18 Capcom games installed on the device. And it's a good mix of popular and classic titles. No real surprises, but several of them take advantage of the screen rotation or the Tate mode, which is really cool.
Stop saying Tate mode. Fuck oh, hell.
Cool. The next collection I want to check out has 2 games on it, Alwa's Awakening and Cathedral. Here are
Alwa's Awakening.
2 really highly regarded 2D platforming games that are getting a physical release for this device. And what's neat about these games is that they're technically new games, but they're designed to look like old 8-bit games.
There's quite a lot of games like that, actually. It sounds like he's only finally discovered this.
Now let's check out Toplin Arcade Collection Volume 1. And I can see why they released this along with the new handheld, because so many of these arcade games support that Tate mode.
Ah, stop saying that fucking Stop saying, God, I'm gonna go spare in a minute.
By the way, I need to mention that I'm capturing this footage using the HDMI out built into the handheld.
Really, I thought you were using it through an old RF aerial cable, like the type we used to use in the 80s, and with the same sort of. Oh, God's sake, we know you're using fucking HDMI out.
And it only does 720p video out, which is why it might look.
Which is why it's really handy that he's made this video in 4K. 4K, 60 frames a second. Well done, MJR.
A little low resolution on your screen, but check this out, you can rotate the screen.
They're old games made in SD resolution, basic standard definition. That's why they're low resolution, but that's what they're meant to look like. The alternative is you do retro reimagine like Finnegan Fax.
On the video out, if you happen to be one of those hardcore gamers that does have a TV tilted.
Hardcore gay what? Oh, gamer, sorry.
On its side. But in this collection are a bunch of really awesome games. It's mostly shooters, but there are some surprises in here.
So that's MJR. Firstly, block the way he splats those guys all over the place. That's him just sort of blocking people from commenting on his channel. Not telling them that because he shadow bans them. Meanwhile, they've all given him thousands of dollars on the Patreon, and he just scoops that right up.
Here's that Irene arcade collection, which.
Come on, Irene, oh, say Irene.
Only has 6 games in there, but there is some real quality here.
Moon Patrol, the game set in the Lilac system with Star Fox.
Including In the Hunt, which was made by the developer who did Metal Slug. And
In the what? Oh, Hunt, sorry.
You can definitely tell because it has a similar graphic style. What's crazy is that the original PlayStation version and also the Sega Saturn versions are incredibly collectible and expensive. And so getting the game.
Why are they expensive? Because you rack up the price, you silly doofus.
Here in physical form is pretty neat. And here we have a real surprise, at least for me, and that is a Commodore 64 game collection. I believe this is the first time that they've done a computer game compilation. And I am a big fan of the Commodore 64. I grew up with it as a kid, and so I was really surprised to see this.
Lee? Not Bruce Lee? Why is it down as just Lee?
I grew
hang on. The hell? Lee. Lee. It's Bruce Lee.
64 game collection. I believe.
Hang on. Let me just look up Lee, Commodore 64. It's like a different game altogether. All I get is Bruce Lee. The old Bruce Lee game, which was on the Spectrum and the Commodore 64. I don't get anything called Lee.
This is the first time that they've done a computer game compilation. And I am a big fan of the Commodore 64. I grew up with it as a kid, and so I was really surprised to see this.
Platform game for 1 or 2 players simultaneously. Yes, it's just Bruce Lee. It's not like Gather Magic Lanterns. Yeah, it's Bruce Lee, not Lee. What the hell?
And if I'm being honest, I think the list of games in here is just okay. You know, the challenge of a computer like this is that there are tens of thousands of games to choose from this. And the list of your favorite games is really going to depend on you. You know, maybe where you...
Well, that's that's kind of how life is. You know, your own preference is unique to you. Everyone has their own preferences. Well done, well done, MJR. You cracked the secret to life, the universe, and everything. Good on you.
grew up, or you know, what was popular in your neighborhood, what you had heard about. And so half of these games I'd heard about, half of them I did not.
You grew up with the Commodore 64 and now you're playing games that you've not heard of? I was going to say I doubt that, but then, quite frankly, with you don't really play the games properly anyway. So, you're not a gamer. So, yeah, you know nothing about... You know nothing, Jon Snow. I've never watched Game of Thrones.
And so it's kind of fun because you get to discover new stuff, but also this would not be my list if I was going to make, you know, my favorite C64 games. The other thing to know...
Sure, when I played the C64 Mini, there were games I hadn't heard of, but then I had a ZX Spectrum. So when I play ZX Spectrum compilations, I've heard of those games.
Is that these games expect you to have a working keyboard, and you can't obviously do that with a handheld. And so you end up using a virtual keyboard, which it works okay. That said, I think there is a lot of potential.
Bruce Lee! That is Bruce Lee, not Lee. Is this not a touch screen then? Because I would have thought, I mean, it's a tiny screen, I know, but I would have thought that'd be so much easier for typing in.
Potential here. I'd love to see more Commodore game collections, and maybe Amiga, Atari ST, Atari 8-bit. And this highlights some of my favorite things.
I think the ZX Spectrum graphics actually look better than that.
About collecting for the Evercade. They do a little of everything. They'll have the popular arcade titles or popular console titles, but then they'll do really weird and obscure stuff. They'll have modern indie games, and then they'll have classic hidden gems.
Hidden gems!
And they do it all at a pretty affordable price.
Yeah, very affordable when you got, especially for people who get $4,000 of Patreon money each month.
Is it for everyone? No, probably not. I mean, you can argue that you could just get a PSP and put some ROMs on it, and it would be a somewhat similar experience. I get it. But I do like the physical collecting aspect of the Evercade.
Yeah, but you might need to move to a bigger house to fit it all in.
I like how they have the full color manuals. All their games are fully licensed. But when it comes to this handheld, though, do I feel like it's worth the upgrade? And I think if you are a fan of the previous generation of it, then yes, there's enough new here to justify it. The screen upgrade plus Tate mode, I think...
Oh, stop saying Tate mode. Fuck me.
think is pretty cool. And there's enough game collections now that if you haven't jumped in yet, I think you probably would find something to play, something that would pique your interest a little bit. But I would love to know what you guys think. Have you ordered the new Evercade?
You don't want to know what I think because you shadow banned me ages ago because you don't like any sort of criticism. And quite frankly, looking at the comment, I won't bother going through the comments here. It's just simps going, "Oh, we're so glad to have you back, MJR." He will just reply to comments like the first few comments, and he'll heart the first few comments. After that, he won't even know you exist. He won't bother looking at your comments at all. He is not reading anything you fucking write.
Handheld. Do you have one of the previous ones? Please let me.
He's too busy going back and watching Forrest Gump again just so he can learn how to talk proper.
Let me know down in the comments below. And as always, I want to thank you for watching my channel. Thank you for subscribing, and take care.
Take care and give me all your Patreon money. Ah! Well, there we go. That's what you've been waiting. That's what you salivating saps have been waiting 3 months for. Anyway, that's enough of that. Let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. In the meantime, please like this video, share with your friends, subscribe if you haven't already, click on the bell for all notifications, and cue Genesis.